What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things box. Remember to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification to get notified every time new content drops on the channel. So let's get into this one. So just a little bit of news came out a couple of days ago, and the news is that it's kind of twofold really. That first of all, there's new WBC rankings where I believe you've got Deontay Wilder inserted at number 1 in their rankings and Anthony Joshua inserted at number 2. And second part of this is that Tyson Fury could possibly be stripped if he refuses to face the winner of Joshua versus Wilder whenever that takes place. And we know we're all sort of anticipating and looking for that fight. The latest on that is that Eddie Hearn said is kind of unlikely to be anytime soon, but they're still trying to sort of work through it. There's been problems with the money men from Saudi Arabia who deal with it, and there's been issues with skills challenge. So basically, that is the sort of sticking point there. From my understanding is the guys that are going to finance are going to pay for the fight. There's issues in that area of this deal. So it's not that Joshua or Wilder doesn't want it. It's just a case of issues with the money. And as we all know, that when it comes to Tyson Fury, all the boxing fans pretty much, if you love the sport boxing, you would want to see the undisputed, and that was the hope, that we'd get Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk, and that we'd have all the belts tied up, WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF. That was the hope. That didn't happen. But as I've said, so the latest rankings in the WBC, they've just put Wilder and Joshua, 1 for Wilder, 2 for Joshua. And what this means is that when they do fight, when we do finally get Joshua versus Wilder, which is a fight that I personally wanted to see a long time ago, when they were both champions, I think it would have been very interesting. They've both been peak of their powers. It would have been some fight back then. But anyway, when they do fight, there's a deal that basically whoever wins is going to be like a final eliminator. And what that means is that the winner, whenever, let's say it all goes ahead, let's say they fight in, I don't know, early next year, let's say they fight January, February, whatever it's going to be, when they do that fight, the winner is going to be granted a shot at Tyson Fury. Is going to be the mandatory. And if Tyson Fury refuses, then the possibility is there that he could be stripped of the belt. I mean, and technically he should be stripped, because if he refuses to fight that guy, that is going to be his number 1. That's going to be his mandatory, his only mandatory for his only belt. So if he refuses that, then he could be stripped of his strap, and then Joshua or Wilder, depending on who wins, and another top contender. So let's say whoever's ranked number 3, I think is Makhmudov, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's the next one after Joshua. And so it could be a case of, if Fury just does his own thing and says, I'm not going to defend my title, that it would be the winner, either Joshua, Wilder, against a guy like Makhmudov. And again, this ranking thing is very frustrating, because the thing is, you've got these guys that are in the WBC, like top 5. You've got below Joshua and Wilder, you've got Makhmudov, you've got Frank Sanchez, you've got Andy Ruiz. Now, leaving Andy Ruiz aside, the other 2 guys in front of him, Makhmudov and Sanchez, these are both undefeated guys. These are both guys that have pretty much done what's been asked of them. They've kept their O, and they've been right up there in the rankings. And by the WBC doing this and just allowing Joshua and Wilder to just leapfrog these guys, this means that these guys who been working hard, yet to take any losses, and would obviously jump at the shot at Tyson Fury if it came, these guys are now missing out on their shot. These guys are now being pushed down in the rankings in favor of Joshua and Wilder. And the thing is, as much as we can say, right, Joshua has been unified champion, he's held 3 to 4 belts, respect to that. And yes, indeed, that is true. He's held the 3 belts for a few years and done very well for himself. Deontay Wilder also, he held the WBC for some time. I think it's about 5 years that he was WBC champion. So yes, they've both been champions, but the reality is, when it comes to Wilder, he's coming off of 1 win against Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius is no great shakes. He's a former sparring partner of Deontay Wilder, but nowhere near the top 10 or top 15, at least in my view, in any of the sanctioning bodies, certainly not the WBC. Is way outside of that top 10, top 15. It was a bounce back fight, but since that bounce back fight, we haven't had anything else from him. So to me, that's not enough to then put you in pole position, because before that fight against Helenius, before the Helenius fight, he was coming off of the 2 losses against Tyson Fury. So 2 losses against Tyson Fury and a draw before that, and then 1 win against a guy that's, very low down in Helenius. That does not make you, that should not put you in pole position at number 1 in any governing body, and in the WBC or any other one, because it's not a significant win. And Joshua, no better really. He's, he took on Helenius, the last opponent again, and he took on the other guy who fought with Dillian Whyte as well. So there's no real, neither man has had a big significant win on their resume as of late. I mean, both have had these losses. For Joshua, he's lost twice to Usyk, and then his latest fight is against Robert Helenius. He'd won by knockout, but again, that's nothing significant. That's just the expected result. And Helenius, as I say, is nowhere near the top of the heavyweight division. So the idea of, for Joshua to be there at number 2, much as I respect both guys, and they've accomplished a lot in the game, but it is totally unfair for Joshua and Wilder to just be jumped into that top ranking without a significant win, and coming off of very significant losses, respectively, for both of them. And, that's what the case is now. So they're both in pole position. And again, it's not good at all. I don't think it's good for boxing, because essentially, it's, at least in my view, it's what you're showing these fighters is that really it's all about money and it's all about politics, because, we know that of the 2, Joshua and Wilder, Joshua's the bigger draw. He's still, as much as I think some of his value has dropped since losing to Alexander Usyk twice, he's still a big star. He's still like a big name in boxing, and he still generates a lot of money. So in my opinion, the only sort of rationale I can think of as to why Joshua and Wilder have been put where they've been put, and is because when they fight, if and when they fight, their fight is going to generate a lot more money than, let's say, if Makhmudov fights Sanchez. These guys like Makhmudov, Sanchez, and other guys in the rankings, bar someone like an Andy Ruiz, they're very largely unknown. So in my opinion, I just think it's a case of the WBC know that they can make a lot more money in sanctioning fees if they allow Joshua and Wilder to fight. And then obviously if Joshua beats Wilder and fights Fury, that's even bigger pot of gold. I mean, if Wilder fights Joshua and wins, then, we've seen that 3 times already. We know what's going to happen. But money-wise, the names Joshua and Wilder carry a lot more weight and a lot more value. Although they haven't had the significant wins on their resume recently, I believe it's just a money move. And, as far as the WBC stripping Tyson Fury, I can't see that happening based on the fact that they're now allowing him to fight Francis Ngannou, and they've created a special belt for it. So them stripping him, I think he's one of their sort of favorite fighters, so I don't think they've got the backbone to do that. But I think what they might do is, if they don't strip Tyson Fury and Joshua Wilder happens, I think what they'll do is they'll give him a special belt or a special status that allows him to sort of just come back as and when he pleases. I think that that's more likely than just out and out stripping. I think if they do take the belt, what they'll do is they'll just give him another belt or some status whereby he's still got a bit of control and he's still got that carte blanche to come back. So anyway, this is my thoughts on it, and let me know what you think about the idea that Fury may be stripped and Joshua and Wilder, of course, being placed in at number 1 and number 2 without the significant wins. Let me know what you think, and until next time, it's MKO Pugilism, over and out.